What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us 865-658-5824. Join alongside Tim in Green Bay. And I just noticed Emilio's name, Mr. Rusty Undercarriage.
I forgot. I completely forgot that was there.
No, you didn't. Stop lying. You know that was all part of the plan. How are we doing tonight, fellas? Everybody have a good day?
Yes, sir. Except
Good
for Emilio in the trailer, huh? I caught that on the way in here. A little rough, huh?
Backed up a little bit too far. Nothing wrong with that.
Got to break her in
some,
sometimes, right?
Man.
Yeah.
You win some and you lose some. That's the way that goes. So, all right. So we got a lot to cover tonight, man. I really don't even know where to start. I guess we'll start on Twitter and or X, I should say, and go through and just take a look at what's going on around the rumor mill. We hit on it pretty extensively earlier. We're also going to do a mock draft later on in the show, where we're going to make ourselves take a wide receiver with the first pick. It may be trade up a few spots. It may be trade back out of the first round, but hell or high water, we're going to take a wide receiver with the first pick to see how the rest of the draft kind of plays out, if that makes sense. So let's go to Twitter real quick. I don't know if you guys seen this, but Keyshawn Nixon, my man, is recruiting today. As you can see down here at the bottom, he tagged Tay Adams in a tweet earlier about 5 hours ago, said, "Pull back up, Tay. Yo, Tay, pull back up." So he's obviously recruiting Davante Adams. ML Football put a tweet out. This is kind of hard for you guys to see it. Feels like it needs to zoom in a little bit. That better, maybe. Said the Green Bay Packers have the third best odds to acquire star receiver Davante Adams per Bovada official. I guess is a gambling site. Adams is a 3-time first-team All-Pro and 6-time Pro Bowler. One of the best receivers in Green Bay team history and a future Hall of Famer who fits perfectly. So I thought that was the best guy around. We've actually got odds now, and you kept hearing 3, 4, 5 teams that might be mentioned. And you think, okay, where does he really stand? It seems like the betting odds have him as third of the Packers as third favorite to land Tay. I just want to get your all stake. And what y'all think about Keyshawn Nixon doing a little recruiting there, man?
I'm just laughing at Too Old for This. Whoever did that Tay Photoshop is Chris.
Can't even tell that they photoshopped the Packers uniform.
Love it.
That's the truth, man. I love the visor, but we're spreading the wealth. So you got Jacobs out there doing a little bit of groundwork, got J Love doing a little bit of groundwork, Key, everybody. I mean, that's the fact that they're talking about it now, getting excited about the season, this soon into the off season. I love to see that. We're back hungrier than ever is kind of got to be that mentality going in. I think this is one step.
Yeah.
I agree. I still think, chances are pretty slim. I think, maybe, third best odds. I can see that. Not impossible to get him here. But I don't know how things are going to shake out, especially considering that, we know Aaron's not going to be a Jet next year, right? And depending on where he wants to go, you got to think, this is like, it's Randall Cobb again, like all over again. He's going to go probably where Aaron goes. At least you would think those guys are probably communicating together and, during this offseason, figuring out their plans. And then we just got to wait and see how things unfold. So I would think that, if Tay wants to be on the West Coast and Aaron wants to be on the West Coast and there are deals getting done to bring those guys there, they may try and stay together. But I don't think Tay coming back to Green Bay is completely out of the realm of possibility. No. I just wouldn't say it's probable,
As third best odds, you kind of feel like maybe a 30% chance, something like that, right? So
telling me there's a chance.
Exactly. Jacob joins us now. So we've got Rusty Hertz in here from the Oval Office, and we got Rusty Undercarriage in here as well, as you can see.
Don't put that name in my mouth right there.
Jacob, how do you feel about Tay Adams potentially coming back to the Packers? And I don't know if you've seen, but Keyshawn Nixon doing some recruiting earlier today.
Did you say Rusty Undercarriage?
That is correct, sir. Yes.
Dad?
You dad?
I would love to have Tay back. Obviously, we talk about if the price is right, Bob Barker. But I right now it's seeming like the most logical and team-friendly deal, other than maybe like a Godwin or a dark horse we're not quite seeing just yet. That's going to maybe steal it at the back end. But I still think it'd be great. Tay with Love, just Tay being able to finish his career there. I think there was a few records, historical records that he could probably top off with one more season at Green Bay, it'd be great. Personally, I would love it.
Yeah. As Chuck says, the price is wrong, B. Really looking forward to the new Happy Gilmore. When's it set to come out? Do you guys know? I know
it's done filming. I know that.
Yeah. I seen the video that our boy, what's his name?
Shooter McGavin.
Shooter McGavin, one of the best Twitter followers out there, man. As they showed I guess they refilmed the epic scene of him running away, putting his gold jacket on that he stole, right? And looking over his shoulder. So that's going to be in the movie in slow motion, but it was cool to see him filming it. So I gotta love it. So there you go. There's your little bit of rumors around today. Go ahead.
Now, gold jacket, green jacket, who gives it?
Exactly. Let's see here. Wide receiver. I had a video and audio I wanted to play since we're kind of talking about wide receiver. Let me throw this up here. This was on Adam Schefter's show earlier where he had Ty Schmidt from the the Pat McAfee show. And this was them just talking about, quarterbacks are the headliners of the offseason are the wide receivers in the offseason here. Let's just hit this quick soundbite. It's about 2 minutes long. Adam Schefter kind of runs down all the receivers that are potentially on the market, whether it's through a trade or free agency. Here we go.
This offseason is kind of shaping up to be the offseason of wide receivers. What could you see potentially happening with this group of wide receivers?
I want to read to you the list of wide receivers that this offseason either will be available or will be changing teams. We know about Deebo Samuel, who requested a trade from Kyle Shanahan at his exit meeting and then was told last week he was granted permission to go seek a trade partner. We know about Cooper Kupp last week, who the Rams told, we are going to look to trade you and work with you to find you a new home. So Deebo and Cooper Kupp, we both expect to be traded. Look, Aaron Rodgers, not expected back in New York. There's no reason to expect Davante Adams back in New York if Aaron Rodgers is gone too. So now we've got Deebo, Cooper Kupp, Davante Adams, all on the move. That in and of itself would be interesting. Now I'll read you the list of free agent wide receivers. T. Higgins, Keenan Allen, DeAndre Hopkins, Chris Godwin, Darius Slayton, Amari Cooper, Stephon Diggs. That is quite a list of wide receivers to combine with the other three wide receivers that are going to be changing teams. So when we talk about this being a weak free agent class, which front offices have already said to me, not a great free agent class at all, not a lot of depth, and it's not supposed to be one of the better drafts. So there aren't as many great players available this offseason as there have been in other off seasons. But saying that, wide receiver, in my mind, has to be considered, if not the deepest, certainly the sexiest position available in the offseason with trades and free agents and notable free agent wide receivers there to be had looking to change teams. That's where we're going to get a lot of headlines this offseason, Ty.
All right. So there you go. Obviously, Adam Schefter. Listen, he's not my favorite person to listen to be honest with you. He says a lot of stuff that we already know. I think you guys would agree with that. It's like, hey, man, where do you think Davante Adams is going to play football? Well, Davante Adams, big name wide receiver, played for the Jets last year, could end up on the market. I think it's reasonable to say that Davante Adams could potentially land somewhere in the NFL. Like, all right, awesome. We didn't learn a damn thing. Appreciate it, Chef.
Thanks, Perd Hapley.
But I thought it was cool that, they kind of identified and highlighted a lot of the receivers we've been talking about here. And you guys know I've been pretty vocal. Out of all the free agents, I think Godwin would be my top favorite. We got a couple Patreon questions we're going to hit on there. But, in regards to Godwin, and actually Dexter Lawrence, defensive tackle for the Giants, has entered the chat. So we'll talk a little bit about him as well. Not that he's on the trade block to the best of my knowledge. Maybe he is. But someone had just mentioned, what do you think about him? And you guys, I think, will be very surprised at what we uncover there. But based off what Schefter said, you guys got anything to add to that before moving on?
I'm just wondering, this is the first time I've heard the name of Amari Cooper being in the list of possibles. I know that he's definitely fallen off a bridge when he went to Cleveland, but I've always had a soft spot for him, and I thought that when teams try to utilize him, that he actually did perform. I don't know if it's too much to ask if we could look at some of his PFF grades or maybe something like that, but I don't know what he would what he'd dictate as far as a salary hit this year. I mean, that one, Darius Slayton, that's another one where he hasn't done as much as I feel like Amari has. And then obviously you got your big names, your Godwins, your Higgins, and that kind of stuff. But you guys know me, I'm looking to be cheap and still get the best person available here. And if that, I mean, I just personally have always thought Amari Cooper was underutilized for what his talent base was.
I agree with that. And he's definitely probably one of the cheaper bargains in free agency without the numbers in front of me. I mean, he's 31, right? So he can't be wanting too much.
Holmes says, heck no to Amari Cooper. He done. 12 for this says, I'd rather have Cooper than T.
Yes, yeah, I kind of agree that I think Amari Cooper's done. Let's pull up his grades though, make sure I'm not overlooking something here, and make sure we got the
only thing I would say to Amari Cooper would be we tried that. Who'd we pull up? The Clemson wide receiver, Sammy Watkins, right?
Yeah,
that's not the same. Though.
I'm just saying, you never know.
Yeah, this is going to be a no for me, dog. When you look at the grades of starting 2015, 71, 76, 63, 76, 84, 75, 73, 81, 79, and then 68. But keep in mind, it was with Cleveland, right? And Buffalo as well, though. So you got to take that into consideration. They traded mid-season for him, right? Am I thinking right? Yeah. So, to me, it all comes down to the money, But I'm not paying more than $5 million for a Amari Cooper, or whatever is it, Amari Cooper? Yeah, Emilio, what you just said there, it kind of feels like that. I have to agree with you. Like
that's where it's heading. That's all I'm worried about. First round. I mean, for talent, skilled player, if we thought it was going to work out, and just I don't know, man.
Yeah, and Sammy Watkins kind of felt like this 68.6 or 68.7 here. You know what I mean? When we had him on the team, it was just like, he's not horrible, but he's not a difference maker.
Right.
And Jacob, that's the issue we're running to. Tim and I, we had uncovered it earlier today, breaking down these wide receivers. Everybody's comparing like on the market. Our receivers are lacking targets. If our receivers had the targets that T. Higgins had, that Chris Godwin had, our receivers would have better numbers. Like Jaden Reed, we broke it down earlier. He would have had 1,244 yards receiving if he had T. Higgins's target number. And T. Higgins finished the year at 911 yards. So it's like, I don't know exactly why we're in love with those players when the production hasn't been there to warrant or justify $25 million. That's kind of what we've come up with. So, again, there's the number. Is that what you wanted to see, though, with Amari Cooper? Is that what you wanted to glance at there?
Yeah, no, I'm not pro Amari Cooper. I just am saying I haven't heard that name in the mix, so I just wanted to see if we could take a peek at it. I mean, that when you look at his grades, it does seem like it correlates with the performance of his quarterback. Like he had some hot times when Dak was hot in Dallas. Then he went over in 2022, and I think that was when they had that very flash in the pan type season with Deshaun before everything fell down there. So I don't know. It comes down to money. Like if I could get this dude for like $1 or $2 million a year, I mean, I'll try it. But
right, yeah, wouldn't be a bad choice there at all. Greg Rice says Tim's head would explode if Diggs was seen in Green Bay. Tim, is that valid there, sir?
No lies detected at all. That is the absolute truth. I'll keep my eye out around town though when I'm out and about, just make sure that he's not here talking to Goody or something, man.
There you go. All right, so Matt Schneidman had put a tweet out earlier today too. Let's get this up on the screen real quick for everybody. He had tweeted out a picture of Max Crosby with Rich Bisaccia and also with Josh Jacobs, and he had put the tweet there with it. As you can see, Keyshawn had tagged Max Crosby and said, "Come be great with a real team, my boy." So he's obviously recruiting Max Crosby as well, man. Hey, one thing about Keyshawn, man, it's I don't want to name drop here, not that anybody knows the people in my circle, but a buddy of mine has an uncle that he loved the ladies. Let me just say that. And one of the guys were sitting around one night. They said, "Buddy, if you don't have any success there, it's not because you didn't try." You know what I mean? Because he's just shooting his shot constantly. And that seems like what Keyshawn's doing here, man. He's just scattershotting right now. But again, I don't know, man.
I mean, it kind of feels like that's what Matt Schneidman's doing. I mean, it's Matt Schneidman's tweet, right? He tweeted.
He quote tweeted Keyshawn. Yeah.
Oh, so Keyshawn tweeted the pictures?
You see it at the bottom right here? No, Matt Schneidman put those pictures in there after Keyshawn tagged Max. Yeah.
I get it. All right. I was going to say.
Yeah, and that was after Keyshawn had actually quote tweeted Eli's
Yeah.
tweet. So, and
Now
again,
there's
Eli,
a clean crop.
yes, absolutely. Other than the arms, man, the little baby arms. I don't like the baby. I may need to get back on the curl there. But the other thing too, Eli caught some heat over this, on Twitter. But it's you just drumming stuff up, and then Eli made sure to specify people coming at me as if I'm making this up. And I never said it's what Crosby said. I said it's what Rap Sheet said. He highlighted it here. Might welcome the change, particularly if it's to a playoff team where he knows people. Example, Green Bay. Crosby has 2 years, about $44 million. So everybody get off Eli's back there, man. Anyone who's pretending like that wasn't the team that was aforementioned, we're kidding ourselves there, in my opinion. So, but yeah, it's pretty cool that Keyshawn quote tweeted that. So it's on Keyshawn's mind. There's no doubt about that. Max Crosby, anybody got anything they want to add to that?
I mean, I love it. I don't expect it. I just don't see it happening. I don't see the money working out. I don't see Crosby being like, you know what? Vegas isn't that fun. I'm going to go to Green Bay because that Oval Office is hot, baby.
If anybody knows, it's that man down there in the lower left quadrant. All right.
Hey.
Another tweet we just put out that Jacob, give credit to Jacob for finding this over on the Die Hard Packers Facebook group, a graphic that was created. I'm assuming it's true. I'm pretty sure it is. Points allowed versus the Eagles in the playoffs. So Kansas City allowed 40 points to the Eagles. The Washington Commanders gave up 55 points. The LA Rams gave up 28 points. And the Green Bay Packers, led by Jeff Hafley, only gave up 22 points. So they gave up fewer points than any other defense in the playoffs to the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. Tim, I think this is it's an important stat, man. It just to kind of put things into perspective here that, hey, this defense played damn well this year, man.
Sure does. And it leads more credibility to the wide receiver conversation. There's a lot of people in the fan base that don't want to hear us talk about bringing in a receiver. But I mean, let's be honest. The reason we lost to Philly in the playoffs was we couldn't put points on the board. Mm-hmm. That's basically what it came down to. You're right. We held them to 22 points. We should have won that ball game. Anytime we hold an opponent under 30, we should be winning ball games, in my opinion. And so I think it lends some validity to the fact that with Christian Watson not being available next season, we've got to do something to bring not just a big name, but a proven performer into this offense. And then, like you said, Clayton, Matt's got to tweak the game plan a little bit, and we've got to get that perfect marriage of the run and pass, and get these receivers targets, because you can have all the talent in the world running routes. If you're not throwing the ball, it's not gonna help you. So I do think this is a cool graphic. I'm assuming this is accurate too, like you said, Clay. But it's very telling. It almost makes you feel that cringe again, realizing we probably could have beat the team that ended up winning the Super Bowl if we had a little bit better performance on offense. And maybe it's not just receiver. We talk about interior O-line too. So there's a multitude of issues we need to correct. But that's a huge jump for this defense. Hats off to Coach Hafley in one season, just kind of turning the ship and getting us on the right course. So I think we're on the right track defensively. We can always get better, but I really do. I think we need some weapons on offense, man, to get us over the hump.
Yeah, and as Deadfish says here, 22 points with how many turnovers? We fumbled the opening kickoff and gave them a short field that led to a score, and we threw 3 interceptions in that game. So 4 turnovers. 4 turnovers, and you still only gave up 22 points.
Yeah, we should have lost that game by 60.
Exactly. So, yeah, I'm excited about the defense moving forward.
Just real quick, I did confirm just now those are accurate, and which is even crazier, like Tim just talked about. So Eagles, Packers, we put up 10 points to their 22. Rams, Eagles, the Rams put up 22 to the Eagles 28. Commanders, Eagles, the Commanders only put up 23 to the Eagles 55. Chiefs, Eagles, they obviously put up the Chiefs 22 to the Eagles 40. I mean, our defense did the job. They did the job very clearly, and our offense just had to get basically another 2 scores in any kind of capacity, and we should have won that game. We should have. It's tough. It's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Emilio.
I mean, just bringing in the pieces and it coming together. You brought in X, he solidified the secondary. You brought in a rookie safety, he solidified it. A rookie linebacker that stepped up. Where's our weak spot? I mean, where did we not see somebody step up for us this past year? It got to be the front 4, right? I mean, I feel like that's where we're not happy with the performance, where it needs to work on. The fact that we held them to 22, is just a testament to one, field position, performing when you get the chance or draw the short stick. But I think that we also need to, shoot for even better than that.
Yeah, definitely. So again, just want to put that into perspective with the defense and how well they played there in the playoffs. Like Tim said, you should have lost. You should have gave it 60 points, based off those turnovers in the short field that was allowed there. So there you go. That's a walk around social media earlier. Let's go to the Patreon group real quick. If you guys want to join our Patreon group and get your questions read on the air, I'm tossing around an idea here too, guys. I just got to be real careful. Thought about opening up for the Patreon group, maybe certain members, it's like certain tier or something. I don't know. I'm just trying to think. What if we allowed them to have a link to the show where they can call in, right? It's just we've got to keep it brief if we do it. That's the main thing, right? If it turns into something where someone's long-winded, next thing you know, a call lasts, 5-6 minutes. We get through 3 calls. We didn't cover any of the stuff we want to cover, that type of thing. So I'm just tossing it around, maybe another added benefit to the Patreon group. But if you want to join our Patreon group, scan the QR code in the upper right. That'll send you to patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. You can get your questions read on the show here and be a part of the show as these gentlemen did here. Josh Martin with the first one says, would a trade for Giants Dexter Lawrence, defensive tackle, be worth looking into? So I did a little bit of research here, guys, and I did it along the same lines that I did the defensive tackle research with Milton Williams. You guys know that was a name that's been tossed around a lot. People were going and breaking down the film and saying, man, Milton Williams would be a great pickup. We pointed out Milton Williams is a better pass rusher than Devontae Wyatt, but he was nowhere near the run defender that Wyatt was in terms of run stops last year. So I did the same thing here with our boy Dexter Lawrence, right? Dexter Lawrence, just put it into perspective here. Devontae Wyatt run stop percentage is 19%. What you do is you take the run defense snaps, right? And you're going to basically divide it by the number of run stops. It's going to give you that run stop percentage, right? 19% in run stops. And run stops are runs that player made the tackle with 3 yards or less, essentially, is what it is. Like you're under 4 yards allowing on the carry there, as opposed to just tackles for loss. Or one stat I really don't like is tackles. A player can be tackling a player 12 yards down the field every single play, end up with 100 tackles on the year. That didn't do a damn thing for our defense, right? So that's why run stops, I think, are more important. So run stop, Devontae Wyatt, 19%. Dexter Lawrence, 16%. So he was a better run defender, according to that metric there, than Dexter Lawrence, one of the highest paid defensive tackles in the game. Quarterback pressure, Devontae Wyatt, 9.7%. Dexter Lawrence, only 9.6%. So Devontae Wyatt, when you look at it from quarterback pressure and you look at it from run stop percentage, Devontae Wyatt was more effective on a snap-by-snap basis than Dexter Lawrence. Pretty wild to think about.
Do you think that there's any understanding of the criticism, which I haven't raised any, and I don't think that we've raised much here on this podcast, but I have seen certain indications of like, hey, our coaches aren't letting these guys out there for a full game. Crosby, for instance, barely comes off the field. A guy like Danielle Hunt, you know what I mean? Like certain types of edge defenders. I know Ryan's boasted about this. We don't let him have 90 snaps. We'll have him have 50 and quote unquote he's fresh. Well, you could see the same for Devontae Wyatt. If Devontae Wyatt's out there as much as I'm sure Dexter Lawrence was, I want to see that fruition, like the amount of the pass rush ability, the win percentage, the run stop percentage, all that kind of stuff is great, but it's in a really small sample size because for whatever reason, we are bent on these guys having a hockey rotation. Do you think that that's beneficial? It's a double-edged sword, clearly. Do you think that one side is more sharp than the other right now? Because it seems like if we were to just, on paper, if you were to play Gary the whole game, if you were to play Wyatt the whole game, if you were to play Van Ness the whole game, and you could run that down the number of different players, we'd have a better outcome than what we're doing right now, where we're juggling like 6 guys that have an equal amount of snaps on a certain position. Is that crazy, or am I talking out of my butt?
No, that's a Matt LaFleur thing, though, man. He's now had 3 different defensive coordinators, and they've always had that hockey line, that heavy rotation, right? I mean, we talked about that over and over, didn't we, Emilio?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's got to be a Matt LaFleur thing for 3 different defensive coordinators to come through and do that the same way. It's got to be a Matt LaFleur thing. There's pros and cons to both of them, but that's why you'll hear me. That's why you'll hear me use percentages, run stop percentage, as opposed to just run stops in general, or sack percentages or pressure percentage. Because if you just look at the overall numbers, which is what most fans do, they just look at, wow, he had more tackles, he had more sacks. That's not telling the whole story when you got a heavy rotation. Like, that's
and
so
if you have that heavy rotation, you're expecting guys not to take plays off. Whereas, I mean, you get sometimes you run those 60 plays a game, the run's going away from you. All right, I'm just going to stand up, engage this guy, and kind of, get by this play. I need a breather. I'm trying to save it for third down. That's what I would like to avoid by doing that hockey lane, which I think is what Matt's trying to do. But no, I do get the point, Jacob. I think it's a fair question, definitely.
Yeah.
I agree. And I think if we're going to take that approach, you have to do what you can to load up on talent. Then, if you're going to rotate often, let's rotate dogs. We're only as good as our weakest link, and if you can add another piece or two to that rotation, and then like Jacob's saying, basically like stem the balance a little bit and have your premier guys playing the bulk, 70 to 80% of the snaps, and then your rotational guys can come in and give them a breather, so they're not doing what Emilio's saying, which is we've seen it, hands on the hips, you're tired, you're gassed, you end up taking a play off, or you get lazy and you get roasted. So, I think there's nothing wrong with having that hockey line kind of rotational mentality, but I just don't think we have the right depth in the right groups to do that successfully right now.
I think Rod's comment, he goes, Rashawn needs to play more like 70% of snaps, not 59. And then also what Redmo said here too, rotation has to be more situational, not just down and distance, etc., not a deliberate rotation. I think that's maybe the problem that we're looking at there is like, we got to get these guys at equal 30, 30, 30, you know what I mean? Or a 30, 30, 40, where it's like, no, we need to know who needs to be. We need to have Slayton in here on this because of this down. We need to have Gary and make sure Cox is on the outside in this situation, like because specifically, not just because we want to get them all 40% rotation or whatever it is.
Right, and we're geared up to run a TE here or an ET or a TT. Yep. Which players are good at that? Get Carl Brooks on there to lead the TT. He's the man at doing that. He can blast through that double team, occupy the double team, free up the other guy, and then obviously make his run there at the quarterback. There was another one I wanted to hit on. Somebody said, how did I think it was Josh Martin in the chat there said, how did Dexter Lawrence fare to Kenny Clark? Kenny Clark, one of the worst defensive tackles in the game last year when you look at statistics and PFF grade. But you have to take into consideration what we're talking about here. We're talking about Dexter Lawrence then you'd have to see, okay, what is his numbers as the one tech, right? And now you got to break down everything that goes on with the Giants and what they do schematically. With Kenny Clark last year, he played one tech all year long. There was sometimes you go with a wider front and you put them both D tackles in like a three tech type look. But for the most part, he played a one tech and he done a whole lot of touch spine. And if you guys know what that is, it's basically occupy the double team and don't truly rush the quarterback. You're just kind of lagging back and looking for them to try to find the escape lane. That's why you've seen Kenny make a couple tackles downfield when the running back cut through the hole, and you'd see him just blast over and tackle him, maybe a 4-yard gain, because he was playing that touch spot. So that was something that was specifically put in the scheme by Hafley. And the only answer to that, there's two answers. It's to stop scrambling quarterbacks, and it's to help stop the run, right? It's essentially you're two-gapping with one player is what you're doing. And look at the results you got in the run defense. So you could turn them loose and say, hey, Kenny, go after the quarterback. Everybody just pin your ears back and go. But we can't sit here and bitch and moan whenever Tommy DeVito runs all over us like he did. Whenever, insert name of running back that we got so tired of the run defense being so bad. You could tell that was the plan last year. About halfway through the season, we started to really identify that, Hafley is truly playing the run here is what he's trying to do. And in the meantime, everybody's roasting Gary. They're roasting Wyatt. Why ain't they getting more penetration? The answer is always on the tape, man. Always on the tape. Yeah. But so there's that. I want to hit the super chat real quick. Seth Reuter, thank you so much, buddy. He says, think Raiders Browns would do Malik and a fourth for Crosby/Garrett. That's interesting. The Raiders need a quarterback, right? Well, they're probably going to go get Shedeur Sanders, I would imagine, but that's not a given. The Browns
need a quarterback.
That's right. That's what I was wondering. Remember I was asking you the other day, what would you say to Malik going to the Browns or trade, being able to trade Malik for a quarterback needing team?
Well, do you remember too the whole caveat with that, Amelia, was that the Browns have no money. You talk about teams that have no money, they have no money, and no money specifically to just throw at the quarterback position. The
Right.
only snowball's chance.
They tried that already, right?
Yeah, exactly. The only snowball's chance in hell this team has at even like clawing their way out of that Star Wars pit that in the sand, you know what I mean? Is that if they find a guy like Malik Willis who they can give like, hey, we'll give you $4 million or something like to start this year. And he could carry them maybe for a year, maybe two tops. And then they finally either, cut weight with Deshaun, get a new draft pick, whatever the case may be. I think that's more realistic than the Raiders because the Raiders have Pete Carroll. They've got guys that are excited about that, younger guys still. I don't know. To me, that would make more sense. I don't think that Malik is going to dictate that kind of draft prospect. And we could also get a Crosby or a Garrett. I don't think that works out the same way. But as the situation gets more dire, I'm sure that they'd be willing to pay more and more as, you know what I mean? It's very early. There's still Aaron Rodgers is out there. Darnold is out there. There's a lot of guys that are floating.
Yeah, and with the whole Myles Garrett thing, people just assume, okay, they get rid of Myles Garrett, they free up cap space. It's actually the opposite.
Yeah.
Huge penalties attached to Myles Garrett unless they do some absolute magic with that option aspect of his contract. I just don't see how Garrett can be reasonably traded. And I say that reasonably because, believe me, the Browns are not reasonable. They're going to do something crazy. There's no doubt. So now if we put ourselves in the Raiders or the Browns' shoes and answer Seth's question here, if you're the Raiders, would you give up Max Crosby for Malik Willis and a 4th round pick? I would say no.
Yeah, me too.
If you're trying to build a team, a top tier position of importance is edge. You're taking 2 steps back if you trade Max Crosby. Now, will they do it? It's possible. I think the better chance of them doing it is if that player holds their feet to the fire. And same thing with Myles Garrett there, which he's holding their feet to the fire. The problem is the contract. And I think someone had said he had mentioned he's willing to do whatever he needs to do with the contract to make it work, which gives me a little bit of kind of, okay, remember we mentioned the option in that contract. There's probably some maneuverability in that aspect. So, Seth, hopefully that answered your question, buddy. Thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate you. Back to the Patreon question. Chris Sin said he's on board with that Dexter Lawrence. Dexter Lawrence has been a good pro for a long time. There's no doubt. I'm just kind of comparing apples to apples here and going, okay, are we truly upgrading that position if we go that route? And I think someone had mentioned here, Prince said Lawrence has 3 more years.
3 more years.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I was just going to say, can you imagine, look at this from the Giants' perspective. You guys traded Saquon. You guys gave us Xavier McKinney. And now you're going to trade Dexter Lawrence. You might as well hand in your resignation, bro.
That's a good point.
And again, Dexter Lawrence, whether you think he's all world or you think he's just a good player, 3-tech, defensive tackle, tier 1 of importance, right? Just like the edge position.
Yeah. Tim, that's also after they gave the bag to Danny Dimes and then cut him like a year later. He's on the Vikings practice squad, basically. I mean, you talk about a front organization that our front office that has absolutely buried themselves. I mean, obviously
and they've made no changes, correct?
Yeah, well, not anything meaning. So you'd have to say Cleveland and the Giants, and then there's a laundry list of other teams. But I mean, consistently shooting themselves in the foot. I don't know, man. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, no doubt. Did you actually read Greg S's? Because it was kind of going hand in hand with what we were talking about just then. If you didn't, I'll read it real quick in the Patreon group. Greg S says, I don't see them fielding any trade offers after the embarrassment of letting Saquon and X walk while paying Jones and cutting him. That being said, I would love to have him on the team. So
exactly.
All right. Again, that's the question section of the Patreon group.
Joey says, though, we did give him John Roney Jr., though. So fair is fair. Fair is fair.
There you go. So in the free agent room here of the Patreon group, another question, another chat that we've got here. Chris N said, I've turned my free agent attention to DK Metcalf for offense. Contracts make sense for Seattle if they want to trade, and makes sense for the buyer if he'll continue on his current deal without extension. right away. So let's talk about DK Metcalf, and let's run it through the same test, the same filter that we did earlier today with the other receivers. DK Metcalf, 108 targets, 992 yards, 9.1 yards per target. He only had 5 touchdowns. So again, at 9.1 yards per target, that puts him still behind Jaden Reed at 11.4. It does put him ahead of Romeo Doubs at 8.3, and it would put him ahead of Higgins, who is at 8.3. So to me, DK Metcalf, it would put him slightly behind Godwin, right? And with Godwin, you wouldn't have to give up trade capital, right? So the order I would put DK Metcalf is right behind Godwin, but I would actually put DK Metcalf ahead of Higgins. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what do you guys think about that here with the talk about a DK Metcalf, a potential trade there?
Hey, I wouldn't mind DK.
I was going to say, I've had a personal draft crush on DK since I saw that guy strap on the cleats and actually start beating guys like in track races when he's about the size of Megatron. I mean, that's an actual physical freak right there. And I will say that of most of the kind of flash in the pan wide receivers, I feel like he has been the most underutilized by far of all of those groups there. I mean, Higgins has Burrow. Don't get me wrong. Like, we had a little bit of late season resurgence with Seahawks quarterback who all of a sudden
Geno Smith,
but he's no, and he had late stage Russell Wilson. Let's go throw him over there with a quarterback that can put a dime on him and just actually utilize what he can do, because that's a physical. You talk about a possession X wide receiver that could be actually moved around and as is not just a prototypical X. I mean, that'd be cool. I'll be honest. That would. Greg Rice, Cox and DK makes sense, man. I'm telling you what.
Yeah, I would be all about DK. I mean, that dude is not afraid to go across the middle, not afraid to make anybody else pay. He's the one delivering the hit each time. Got speed, got strength. He can go up and get it. I think that it would be a good addition. Always back to it though. What's the price? Where are we going to be at it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you were a free agent, I'd be a little more excited, but I'm not excited about auctioning off draft capital or players necessarily for him. But I think to Jacob's point, he graded out at a 74.3 this year. Like Clayton said, 5 tutters, just under 1,000 yards receiving, clearly underutilized, right? Like if he's in the right system, I could see him kind of having a mid to late career resurgence, right? He's going to be 28 this year, I think. So, I mean, I've always liked DK Metcalf. I don't know if he's that true answer to what we're looking for. Like when we talk about bringing in a Godwin or a Tay Adams, these guys that could come in and be a leader. For the younger guys, I think DK is more of like, hey, I'm the dude. I'm here. Give me the ball.
Yeah, that's what Holmes just said.
Yeah.
Exactly what you just said, Tim. He goes, DK's a crazy athlete, but he's not mentoring type. He won't help the young guys.
Totally agree with that. Doc, for sure. Because that's what I've always seen. That's not a knock on DK. I mean, not everyone is going to be that coach / player, leader, mentor type of dude. You need your guys that just do their job and do it well, and that's it. I mean, everyone's got a role to fill on a team. So, but that being said, I'm still with you, Clay. I think I'd rather have Godwin, over anybody right now at this point.
Yeah, for me, of the names we're mentioning, it's Godwin, then DK, then Higgins, is how I would put it. Again, once you kind of dive into everything, and I understand what you're saying. Like schematically, he would fill that void that Christian Watson's leaving behind. There's no doubt about that.
Yep.
But from a leadership standpoint, that's kind of tough. So, as Prince says here, right? If you're looking for a guy to fill that Watson role, DK is it. Of all the guys we've talked about, no doubt. So, all right, appreciate those comments there. Now let's shift focus to the draft real quick, as we had a favorite prospect, I think, that was mentioned in here in the Patreon group.
Should we split this, Clay?
We're going to do it right after this, because in the second hour, what we'll do is the mock draft. Nice. So appreciate that, though, Emilio. Thank you, man. Greg S. says, Jason Kelsey recently said the toughest interior defensive lineman to block is someone shorter with long arms. There isn't much arm length data out on until the combine, but from a quick search, Joshua Farmer, FSU, fits that mold. Its draft profile is exactly what we need. His only knock is inconsistent pad levels, projected 100-ish pick. So appreciate that information there, Greg. And as you mentioned, Greg, there with the long arms, that type of thing, it's very important. Very important. I'm trying to think here too with the short arm and the long. Oh, I think there is arm length data out there. There's a website. If you Google Senior Bowl, now maybe Josh Farmer wasn't at the Senior Bowl. I don't have that information in front of me right now, but we'll go ahead and close out the Patreon group and let's jump over to the draft board. Emilio, do you have Josh Farmer pulled up?
Yes, he was at the Senior Bowl.
He was at the Senior Bowl. Where do we have him at on our board? Do you remember?
227.
227. Got it. All right. So there you go.
Real quick, what's funny about that is if you guys remember one of the metrics that I believe it was Sam Monson, he's the kind of foreign guy on what was the PFF podcast. I believe now it's with the 33rd team or something like that. But he would always make fun of these offensive tackles with their teeny little T-Rex arms is what he'd call them. And he always had he'd call David Bakhtiari was not supposed to be a good left tackle because of these teeny little
You sound like him, dude. You sound like him.
I'm trying. And
I can't figure out if his accent annoys me or if I really like it.
I know. It makes you listen to it. I love their dynamic. I think it's great. But I do think there's something to be said about certain guys being overlooked because they don't quote unquote meet that. Because it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's that first stab that left tackle needs to be able to make initial contact. The footwork's obviously a big thing where he's doing that pedal back, but it's that stab motion with whatever arm it is where it's like you want to make first contact and kind of dictate what's going to happen, which is obviously harder to do if you have shorter arms or whatever, but that would be something though that would be worth looking into to see, like Emilio said, when those measurements actually come out, what those if that correlates with what he gets kicked inside, for instance. Maybe like if they say, hey, his arms are too short, he can't be a tackle at the NFL league, we got to kick him inside. And what that would do is to where we would maybe take a certain guy on that spectrum. But I just, there's so many metrics nowadays. It's fun. Emilio, add another column to the Excel spreadsheet about little T-Rex arms.
T-Rex arm column.
We'll have a little dinosaur emoji.
Yeah, just put a little rawr.
Oh, that'd be awesome. A little rawr. That sounds like you over at the office there, Jacob.
Hey.
So yeah, Josh Farmer, like Emilio said, in the 227 spot, but it is worth mentioning. What's bringing him down, guys, is his PFF grades: 318th, 760th, and 571st. The PFF big board had him at 124. The consensus big board had him at 189. Daniel Jeremiah has him at number 39 on his big board.
But Clay, he's one of those guys that like we had before, before DJ's board came out and everything, we had him. Like, I mean, if you're talking 297, we are pushing 370-ish, right?
Yeah, right?
So, I mean, the dude climbed up immensely because our head scout, quote unquote, or one of our top, 3 or 4 head scouts have compiled this information that brought him in 130 spots. So, I mean, that's something that you're going to want to, pay attention to. What else is going to bring him down? He gets on the 33rd big board. I mean, he could be top 200, closing in on 150 maybe.
Yeah, because he definitely wasn't in the top 100 for the 33rd team. That probably changed, but again, I want to take the early information.
Right.
And then we got all the other boards, the late boards that are moving to the last second. We can use those later. That's cool. But right now, and with our board in general, I want it to stay very, very conservative in that regard. But he wasn't in the top 100. But if he's at 101, right, Emilio, then he's going to jump up our board big time, right? And same thing with Dane Brugler when we put that information in at the end. So there you go. That's your Josh Farmer talk again. Thanks to the Patreon group. For those of you listening on the pod, that's going to do it for hour 1. We'll see you on the other side, but we're going to do a wide receiver first mock draft where we force ourselves to take a wide receiver with our first pick, no matter where we pick with that first pick. But we appreciate y'all on the pod. We'll see you on the other side. All right, welcome into hour 2. Let's do it. Let's get to the mock draft. Is there anything else you guys want to hit on? Do you want to maybe, Jacob, you want to rattle through the chat real quick while I set this up and let's clean that up real quick?
Yeesh. All right. Let's go. I think we already covered a couple of these here. JJ McQuaid says that go get Crosby, draft Kenneth Grant, Our defense is on elite status immediately after that. I can't argue with the Kenneth Grant. It's one of those picks that I haven't really dove into because it was one where it's like, I just don't feel like he's going to make it to us. I don't want to get my hopes up. Real quick, Tim or Emilio, do you have any thoughts on that prospect there possibly coming over?
I mean,
Grant?
in a perfect world, that would be phenomenal, right?
That'd be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool.
That would be the move if possible. But I mean, I think either way, we're chasing somebody that can help in the trenches.
Right.
But
Definitely.
because it depends on what we go to. If you're using the public board, if you're using PFF board, if you're using a different site. I mean, I went on the Pro Football Network because you were talking about it the other day. Clay ran one. I mean, you got completely different
It's
people.
so different, dude.
And so it's like you really have no idea. We could be. Well, that's what we need to do. Take a couple from each of them, see where we land. How many people are in that bubble? Last time we looked, Jordan Morgan was 10 or 12 away from the big board on those. So I just think it's something we need to kind of chase down and keep an eye on.
Yeah, and I think it's a valid point. And if you guys have watched this show for any amount of time, last year we actually did that. We took mock drafts from different websites and we just simulated it. We didn't actually make the pick. We simulated it and seen which names popped up multiple times. And I think the first year I did that, Devontae Wyatt was the name that we had picked the most for multiple sites. Lo and behold, the Packers ended up taking him. So
he was the best guy around.
It's a cool little exercise for sure. But can you guys see this okay? Is that all right? Are we good there?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Because I've got multiple windows open here. Hopefully it doesn't affect much here. So let's dive into it. We're going to do, like I said, a 7-round mock. We're using the Packers. Now, do we want to we have to stick and pick or trade back, or do we want to have the option to trade up for a receiver too? What do we want to do here, gents?
We got to make the rules, right?
Do we
whatever we want?
Would we want to trade up for McMillan? Would be the question. That or Mbuka
Right.
would be the question. Really.
So why don't we set it?
I
to
say
some-
stick and pick, and we get my boy Jaden Higgins.
Stick and pick, or we can trade back. I feel like that's more realistic. Right?
Okay, cool. All right, we'll go fast then. So we'll stick and pick or trade back. So let's go ahead and hammer it out. As we get to
You pick it, I stick it.
look at reset the slow. See how it
Once
does.
again, before anybody in the chat jumps on us, we're taking a receiver first on purpose. So
Yes.
this is just a draft exercise. Don't get all upset.
Oh no.
Don't get upset with the fact that Walter Nolan is on the board here.
Jack
Or Kenneth
Sawyer,
Grant.
Kenneth Grant, Gray Zabel. Cool.
I already know who my pick is here, to be honest with you. If we have to go wide receiver, now we got to make a decision. Is it worth it to trade back or stick and pick here? Okay. Emilio, do you have access to our board, or do you want me to look at it?
I have access to it. What are
All
we
right, so
diving
here's
into?
Matthew Golden. Where is he at on the big board? Tell the folks at home.
Matthew is
41st. Is that what you got?
yes. I have
All
him
right.
at 41st.
All right. So Matthew Golden is 41st. What about
Bish.
how do you say it, Jacob? Have you mastered that name yet? Alec?
Alec Ayamanor.
Nice.
Perfect. Where you got him at?
Manor is 68th.
All right. So right now, Matthew Golden's the top guy. Jack Besh.
Bish.
Bish.
He is 88th.
All right. Restrepo.
I like Xavier too,
Wide
man.
receiver Restrepo.
He is
Smaller dude.
He's a little guy.
A little bit guy.
61.
61. All right. Savion Williams out of TCU.
Savion 94th.
All right. Jaden Higgins.
Easy
Here's
to-
a guy.
Tim said number one in your heart.
67th. He's actually one above Alec.
Got
oh
it. Okay.
boy.
All right. Jalen Royals. He's lower. We know that. Tez Johnson. Trey
Where do we
Harris.
got, go ahead.
Trey Harris is 42 on our board, right? You seeing Trey Harris here.
That is correct. Yep.
He's significantly lower. See, the whole point here is we've got Trey Harris and Matthew Golden essentially with the same exact grade on our board, right? So what you would say here is, okay, if you have to choose a wide receiver and they're your top two receivers on the board, I'm not missing anybody, Emilio. That's got to be the top two receivers on our board, right?
Yes.
Because
That's it.
Luther Burden is gone, right?
Real quick, why is Golden so high on your guys' board? Is there anything that you can point too that just jumps out because he just
Matthew
Jacob
Golden
came
would
in
be
here
his-
hard. Like, hold on a second.
I've not been interested in him, and I want to know why people are. Just 'cause
Well,
I-
Jacob, okay, you could get him as a 94 overall card in college football ultimate team last season. So, but besides that,
okay.
his PFF the previous 2 years not great, just shy of 500, then just shy of 400. Then last year was 160. PFF Big Board had him 22nd. Consensus had him 46th. Daniel Jeremiah had him 24th. 33rd had him 29th.
Does he have drop issues though, Emilio?
Let me
He's
see.
got daddy issues.
Who doesn't?
So here's what it comes down to answer your question, Jake. If you were to say stand on the table for him, Clayton, not the pole, the table, for Matthew Golden, why do you like him so much? Here's what I would say. PFF Big Board had him at 22 at the end of the season. The consensus Big Board had him at 46, and our head scout said he's worthy of the 24th pick. And we're going to be getting him at 23.
Okay.
Now, here's the thing. We've got our final grade. We disagree a little bit with our head scout. Plus the 33rd team, Kyle Krabs, had him at 29. We disagree a little bit. We've got him at 41, right? So my point is, if he's the guy we're going with, it's either him or Trey Harris, right, who essentially have the same grade. And when you look at it, Matthew Golden is projected to go 24th overall, right? So he's going to be gone. But if you go down to Trey Harris lasts till 83.
Right.
So this is prime real estate for trading back. You see what I'm saying?
I'd be team trading back right now, honestly.
Now, anybody opposed to trading back here? Do you think and Tim, give me, is there anybody that you would rather take here? And we'll kind of combat it with our board and try to run through the information.
No, I'm right there with Jacob and you. I don't know where Emilio's at, but I'm down with trading back here.
Let me just pitch you one thing. Matthew Golden here, Jacob. Receiving grade 75.6. Yards per route run over 2 yards per route run. Contested catch rate 61%. Drop rate of only 6.5%. He only had 4 drops all of last year. And I really wouldn't. I don't know. I can't. There's nothing I can hang my hat on there, really. That's a sell for me. So I would say trade back.
All right. And if Trey Harris is the guy we're going with, look at these grades, boys.
Right.
77, 88, 89, and he is absolutely through the roof with everything other than the drop rate, who's just below the median line at 7.7%, but everything else. Grade versus man coverage, 95.
Yeah.
I mean, that's our guy. Now
Grade
we got
versus man for Matthew Golden, 65.2.
There you go. So trading back to get Trey Harris. Let's see what the option are. Houston will let us trade back 2 spots. Let's do that, and then we'll trade back again. Is that good with you guys? We're going the Jaden Reed route here. People go, that's unrealistic. They traded back twice for Jaden Reed, right? So let's do it. Let's go for 25. We're going to give 23. Let's see if they'll give us 57. They say, get out of my face with that crap. All right. Let's try for 89. We'll probably have to give a little something else to pick up 89.
Probably give him 160?
If we had it here, let's see here. Is that it? All it's showing is 23, 55, 87, 123, 160.
I'd go give him 199. Don't give him.
I'm giving him 251. I'm hardball here.
Oh, that barely yeah.
I'll tell you another option here too, boys. Think about this. What if we went this route? What if we asked for 55 and they said no way, but we'll give you 87?
Ooh.
We're gonna have to give up multiple picks to do that. That's a little too rich, right?
Yeah.
So let's
I don't hate that though.
Let's just go 89. Try it right there and see if they'll take it.
See if they'll take 89. All right, so we're going to offer the 23rd pick for the 25th and the 89th. Let's see what happens.
Oh, yes.
Oh, here we go.
All right, let's resume here. So
Jacob walked up there with the, can I talk to the manager?
So Matthew Golden got drafted. So now we're down to
the Vikings. This is very realistic, guys.
Exactly. Very realistic. So our best receiver on the board is Trey Harris. All right. Trey Harris, again, is not projected to go until, let's just pop wide receiver up here. Trey Harris is projected to go 83rd. What range do we feel comfortable getting him? You know what I mean? And PFF is going to give us a horrible grade because they've got him ranked significantly lower. But again, we're going by our board here. So in this scenario, we could trade back to 28. Well, there's a lot of ground to cover. We could probably trade back.
We're not trading with Detroit, though.
Exactly. What if we tried to trade back? Let's see. So it's 28. What if we tried to target like the 50 mark? You know what I mean? What do you guys think about that? If we tried to target, if we tried to
Then
target
you're
the 50,
looking
Right
at
there, they go Seattle. Yeah.
so we're going to give up the 25th pick for their 50, and they're saying no, they're not interested. What's up with that? So they're
Probably because they don't have the funds to carry another first round pick.
could be. All right, so let's go back 28. Let's trade back one more. What I don't want to do is take Trey Harris way too early, and we got to take a receiver first, right?
Yep.
So that's why we're looking at trading back multiple times here. Let's try somewhere around the 40 mark and see if the Saints will do it. Because I think that they're just not interested. So if they're not one of the two trades mentioned, they're not going to let you trade with them, is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Right. So let's go back.
What if you
again.
took it? Oh, I was going to say, never mind.
Let's go 31 here, okay? Pick up a little extras. So we'll give 25, 31. They will not give us 63. They will not give us 66. They will give us 95. Or we could go for 63 and give them like an extra
160.
They will not do that. We could go 89 and then come back and rebuttal with like a 131.
I like that.
There you go.
You like that? So we're going to trade back from 25 to 31, and we're going to pick up the 63rd and the 131st pick, and we're giving up 89. You like that?
Yes.
All right, let's do it. Let's offer the trade. They said, yes, sir, we'll do it. And let's pray, sweet baby Jesus. Our boy's still on the board when we get there.
There we go.
And he is. All right, so now we're at pick 31. There are no trades available. Right? Nobody's interested in the trade here. So we're going to have to stick and pick. We got to do it if we're going to stick with our board here, right? We got to. So the only other way that we can make this make sense, guys, is if we reached a little bit on a wide receiver. And if you guys don't know the Jerry Rice story and how he was drafted, this applies right here. They took a guy with a lesser grade, right? Jerry Rice had a better grade, but they projected him later in the draft, and they ended up taking a guy with a lesser grade, the 49ers did, and then got Jerry Rice later as well. The guy they had graded higher was only on the 49ers for a couple of years, and Jerry Rice ended up going on to be the GOAT. So this is kind of a realistic scenario, which is cool. So we can't trade back anymore, man. Our next pick after this, guys, we would have to double dip at wide receiver if we're going to do this, right? Let's see here. I'm trying to see our draft picks. It's not showing it. Where's our picks at? Where do you see our picks at, guys?
Right up there. Next to full draft. It says your picks.
Next to
Oh, no. Yeah, right there.
Right, it's just showing one.
Don't show the
Yeah, normally it's up in the right corner.
Yeah, it's weird.
yeah,
Maybe I
that's
don't
weird.
have it adjusted right. Let's see if this does it. No, ain't doing it, is it?
Unless you only did a 1 round mock.
Did you do a 1 round?
Oh,
No.
God, I hope that's not
you
the
may
case.
have.
That would be brutal.
I think you may have.
Gosh, that would suck. All right. Anyway, is there another receiver that we know is going to be gone that we're pretty high on here, Emilio, where we double dip? You know what I mean?
Not really. I mean, Jack Best turned it up in
J. Cole said, yes, you did. I thought I
game,
picked
but I think we're one wide. You might as well just restart this thing.
We can do it quick if that's the case. We know what we're doing. We're trading back twice, right? And this is definitely going to play out the same way.
Just take our boy Higgins for Tim and see if it just ends.
Just as a little practice run, because we're going to do it here in a minute anyway, right?
No. Take Trey Harris. Take Trey Harris just in case it works.
Okay, good call.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, let's take Trey Harris.
And it's over.
That's it. There
And
go,
you get
guys.
an F minus.
We got an F.
We did really
Idiot.
well.
Idiot.
I love it.
That's
Idiot
the
alert. Idiot
top
alert.
1% draft right there. That's how you do it.
All right, now we're set up for 7. We're going to go.
Okay,
really
who's going to
quick.
say it first?
Now we're
in
going to
the
draft
chat?
7 receivers.
Can we get someone to say it first in the chat? This show
Sucks.
Is awesome.
Thank you. Yeah.
We'll give a free coffee mug, PTA coffee mug.
You think God never farted?
Probably did. Probably did. All right,
That's
let's
what
do it quick
thunder
here. All right,
is.
we're going to trade back twice, correct, guys?
Yeah.
So
See how
let's
fast
go.
you are.
31's the best, right? That we got
Just
right
trade
now.
back to Kansas City. Let's get the. Yeah, let's grab that one. 66.
How about 95 and 131? That looks good, don't it? What do you
Perfect.
think? We good? All right, they accepted. We're going to trade back one more time if we have an offer. We got 3 offers, as a matter of fact. This might work out better. So we're going to give up 31 for 35 and 101. What do we think about it, boys?
Mm-hmm.
That good?
I like that.
All right. Bang. We'll go rapid fire. We're already back where we were, right? So we're good. So at 35, the question was, when's our next pick? It's 55. Trey Harris will be there at 55.
Right.
Are we cheating the system if we don't go wide receiver here? We are, right, Tim? We said we were taking a wide receiver.
No, we are cheating the system. We got to stick to our word.
Yep.
Okay. Got to stick to our word. So who would be the next receiver that we like here? I mean, you see Jaden Higgins, average draft position 55. We got him in the 80s, right, Emilio?
Yes.
You know what? Let's have some fun. If he's the best here, right? He's the best on the board. There's no doubt about it for us. Because I think he's ahead of Jack Besh, right?
Yeah. Our best on the board would be Trey Harris. Then the next wide receiver would be Restrepo at 61. And then it would be Jaden Higgins, 67, Alec at 68.
Okay. So Restrepo would be the next best on our board, right?
That is correct. Yep.
Yeah, but he's 5'10", 198, and he's more of a slot receiver, right? So we're going to double dip on a couple big receivers. We're going to go Jaden Higgins here. Is that good with you guys at 35? Tim, are you okay with that, sir?
What do you think?
Veto.
All right. We're going Jaden Higgins there. And then with the next pick, we're taking our true best wide receiver on the board when we pick
Trey
there.
Harris.
And Trey Harris. So we double dipped on wide receiver, boys. Now, all right.
Now let's start cooking.
Let's start cooking this thing.
Harold Fannin Jr.
So let's add the needs in. We do not need a wide receiver anymore. I don't want to hear anybody talk about it, okay? We're going to go offensive line. We're going to go corner. We're going to go D-line. We'll hold off on edge right now. We'll go linebacker, and that should be it, right? So we're good there. All right. So best on the board, according to this, is Charles Grant. Tackle out of William and Mary. Then we got Deion Walker. It's going to be the all-Tim draft here. Deion Walker sitting there at defensive tackle. You got Tate Ratledge, guard. Emilio, you take the top 3. I'll take the next 3, okay? I'll start with Mello Dotson.
Charles Grant, 73.
Okay.
Deion is 136. Tate is our boy. He's always up high. Tate is 57.
Okay. Jared Wilson is 97. That's the only one that was close at this moment.
Where do we have Jordan Phillips?
Jordan Phillips, I got it, Emilio. Who was your best one, Emilio?
It would be Tate followed by Charles.
Okay. We got Jordan Phillips at 202, Tim.
Yeah, okay. So he's way out of there.
He's significantly lower. Trying to see if there's any other big names here that we like. There's Noel Williams. No. I think we're good. So who's our best? Tate Ratledge? Is that right?
Yeah. Tate is in the 57 spot. And then the only other options were Charles and Deion. Deion Walker's 136 and Charles is 73. So yeah.
So this would be Tate Ratledge here. How do we feel about it, gents? Jacob, what do you think?
I feel good because if it's between him or Charles Grant, I think I'd rather have the guard than the tackle this early.
Yeah, I agree with Tim. Charles is exclusively a left tackle.
Yep.
Tate, I believe, has played a little more around the pond a little bit in that interior, and I think he's a little more. I mean, obviously the strength of competition too with Tate. I feel more comfortable with the early pick on him.
So Charles Grant 73, right, Emilio? Where did you say you had Tate one more time?
Tate was 62. I'm sorry, 57.
Okay, he will not be there if we trade back. So yeah, let's go Tate Ratledge here. We good with it, guys?
Yep.
All right, we're going guard out of Georgia, Tate Ratledge. I know that's odd for the Packers to draft a Georgia Bulldog, but there you go.
Let her rip, Tater Chip.
Now we're on to the 95th pick. We got to continue to include offensive line. Definitely.
Can we throw edge in there now?
If you want to, it's definitely. I don't consider it a need. You're gonna
Cleveland got Deion Walker. What?
Don't worry, Tim. Don't worry. He'll be traded here in a couple of years. We'll have I don't consider edge a need, Jacob, because if we draft an edge right here, you're going to put him on the field over LVN. You know what I mean? That's kind of where I'm at.
Besides, guys, we're totally getting Max Crosby.
Clay, why don't you just pool the 160, the 190, and the 250 and get us anywhere in the 130s, and we'll be good to go. We don't need those three in the bag.
Tim, how have I never heard that voice before?
Besides, guys, we're gonna get Matthew Crosby. My mom told me so.
Tim is so petty, bro. I love it. He's so damn petty.
Why don't we go trade for Max Crosby?
Damn, Tim burn Chris Inson. Was he the one asking in the Patreon group, Chris?
I hope so.
Tim, you're in timeout, sir. What's wrong with you?
I'm not going to, so quit asking.
All right, Emilio, what were you saying, Emilio? We need a bunch.
I was saying just pull all those picks in the back that we don't even really need. Get us back in like the 130s and call it a day.
All right,
Emilio, sir, what is wrong with you?
Thanks, Emilio.
I'm saying, why do we need? I mean, we don't have a lot of spots. I'm saying we can't have another 15 round. All I'm saying is theoretically, logically speaking, are we going to have another 12 pick draft? Or do we have enough spots to bring 12, people onto the onto the team, onto the practice squad, keep them through waivers and all that? I feel like
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
I feel like we're closer to like a 6-7 pick draft.
All right, so how do we do this?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Of course, you have no idea.
No, all right. So give me take Las Vegas, take that 143, and give them the 251, 199, and 160. Perfect.
Oh,
get those out of here.
You selling the farm for 20 spots? You got to get off here and cook some cutlets? What's going on?
Sit your butt outside.
Because I want people to make the team. I want my boy Glover on the field. I mean, what are we talking
There
about?
it is. Now
there we go. Now we see it.
There it is.
This guy.
But I wouldn't be opposed to getting rid of a couple of those and getting one up further, is all I'm saying.
All right. So if we
I like our middle round talent a little bit more.
I got you. So how about that?
That works.
160 and 251 for 143. Like everybody all right with that? All right, let's just go ahead and do that. See if they take it.
Damn. It's called condensing. I like it.
He said, now I can go flip the cutlets. Now, all right, here we go. We're good at wide receiver. Let's go O tackle. We're going interior offensive line. We're going corner. We're going D line. Jacob said go edge, so we're going to go edge.
Gotta go,
Kobe. Right. So what are we looking at here, Emilio? You take the first three. I'll take the next three. I had Jared Wilson earlier. I'll go ahead and hit him real quick. Jared Wilson is 97th. Wow, 97th. I think we're going
Q Robinson is 208.
Okay. So Jared Wilson's 97.
Ashton Gillett is our boy at 51.
Oh, really?
Gillette, I'm sorry. Ashton Gillette, my bad. And Kobe is in the 200s, I'm pretty sure. Kobe is 187.
David Walker at?
David Walker's at 50.
Ooh.
So is that our winner now?
And so it's in between, Gillette and Walker.
Okay. All right.
Joseph says Gillette is a dog.
Do we have linebacker on this list?
We do. Should, right?
There's just nobody popping up. Yikes.
Yeah, they're just all cheeks at this point, I believe.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, Kaiser.
Kaiser will be a little lower there,
yeah. All right.
Yeah, we'll have a shot at him at 101. So it's going to come down to Galat. Is that how you say his name? Galat?
I thought it was Gillette. The best a man can get.
It's an old TT. I'm all right with it. So Ashton out of Louisville, and then you got, what'd you say, David Walker was the other one that we had high?
But he's got that asterisk though, right? I mean, he's had those crazy numbers, but who's he playing against?
Central Arkansas, yeah.
Oh, they're next to they're literally right next to each other.
Okay. So I'm going Galat here. What do you think? We could trade back, but Emilio, God forbid if we trade back. That things he's got to do.
I thought we didn't want it, Clayton. I thought we didn't want one.
I know.
I love Ashton though. All seriousness, I would totally be on board with that.
All right, Tim, what do you think, man? You look so disgusted in this whole damn process.
I like Galat. I like it. Galat.
There you go.
I like what you did there to them. Okay.
Dang. All right. So we got our edge defender out of the way. Jacob, is it okay if we don't include edge from here on out? Is that all right with you, sir?
I'll allow it.
All right, there you go. That's all that matters. All right, let's go corner. Everybody's going, if Jair's in on this roster, we are screwed, is what they're thinking right now. Let's go. We never
They
did
might be thinking that even if he is on the.
We still haven't taken a D line, right?
Correct.
No.
Oh, boy, we don't like this draft, Jan.
Yeah, we're in trouble.
there's
This is what
Jared
happens when you take receiver first, right?
Exactly.
Honestly.
That's the whole point, right? Is to see how this would shake out. We took two. So Kobe Bryant, he's significantly lower. Jared Wilson is in the top 100 for us, right, Emilio? Pretty sure. And then you got Jack Kaiser.
What mad is Rodgers going to be at this draft? Yeah, Jared Wilson is a 97. Took 2 wide receivers back to back. Let's go.
Zy Alexander, 93.
Oh, I like that.
That might be our corner, right? 93 is him. And then
there's our Farmer boy right there.
Yeah, where did we have Farmer on our board?
What about Null, though?
That's a good question. Let's see. Farmer, we had significantly lower. We had him at 227.
Yeah.
Like I said, our head scout said, y'all are crazy, though. He's 39th on my board.
Yeah, our head scout's trying to bring him back into relevancy. So
who do we like better, Noel Williams or Zy Alexander, though, with the corner?
Zy would be our boy.
I would say
I like Noel, though, right?
Noel is like 100 spots below Zy.
Yeah.
It's Zy Alexander.
Yeah, Zy would be the pick here according to our board. Is anybody opposed to that? Zy Alexander.
I wouldn't be, no.
Can we look at Null real quick?
Yeah.
Just because
Noel
I don't
Williams
remember why
is
I thought
71
Steady Eddie.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Zy Alexander. Where are you at, sir?
Down. Right there.
Yeah. Zy Alexander, 79, 63, then 81. So, and again, the reason we had Zy Alexander so high on our board, just to give everybody kind of an idea, is Zy Alexander, 2024, he was the 28th best corner in college football, and the 33rd team has him at 94. The PFF Big Board had him at 71, and the Consensus Big Board had him at 89. So he's in this ballpark pretty much on everything that we've got incorporated into our board. So we go with it. Zy Alexander, boys.
I like it.
All right. Zy Alexander would pick 101 to the Green Bay Packers. All right. Now what's the needs here? We're going off the line again, right? We didn't get our D lineman, did we? No.
Correct. We are in so much trouble.
Yeah. And then linebacker, of course. Jack Kaiser.
Joshua Farmer, you are a Packer.
Hey, let's go Peebles. What do y'all think about Peebles?
Yeah. Or
I love Peebles. Peebles is 104. Or I'm sorry, Peebles is 103. Jack Kaiser is 104.
Peebles, baby.
Peebles, baby. I'm with you, Jacob.
I like Peebles a lot.
And this is a perfect
it a
example of why we color code. Imagine the horizontal board and you seeing these guys at the top of our board. One's green, one's blue. You're going with the green if it's a need, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, Peebles is the pick here, and he is linked to the Packers. So, just to take a quick check, make sure there's nobody. All right, cool. There it is. Peebles is the pick with the 123rd pick.
There you go, Jay. Jay thought Peebles was gone the last time.
Nope, we got him. We did something right in this draft.
Something. All right.
There you go.
So
Jay got him. He got him.
So we don't need a defensive lineman now. We'll stick with O-line. We need another corner, most likely, right?
Mm-hmm.
And linebacker. All right, so now we're getting down to the nitty-gritty.
Luke.
So
Quincy Riley.
I like Kandra. What do you guys think about that?
Holy cow. Hold up a minute, boys. Chase Lunt, offensive tackle, UConn, number 84 on our board.
That is correct.
All right. So he's 84th, right? Is there anybody else here that grabs anybody's attention?
Can you pull up his schematics real quick?
His
Boom.
schematics.
Hey, look at that progression every year. That run block grade, pass block grade.
He was the 10th highest graded tackle in college football last year.
You know what I like too is the consistency. Look at that. The worst grade of the whole year was at Temple at 60.6. Yeah. Otherwise, he didn't
struggled
have
against the boys.
Not a single bad game, not one.
And the 33rd team, if people were going, you got him too high. If you got him at 84, the 33rd team has him at 77. So interesting there.
Do you have any qualms about him exclusively being a right tackle, though?
Not at all.
Right.
Bring him in.
Yeah, then we'll just move Zach Tom to center.
Oh,
Zach Tom is going to be paid handsomely either way. It doesn't matter. He's going to have a spot on this line. I really don't.
I'm trying to find room for your boy Glover, man. You know,
think because didn't we do that to Elton where we kicked him out to the tackle position and we paid him like a guard?
Where do we have Lunt at again?
Lunt is 83rd.
83rd.
We got Luke Condra or Condra, however you say his name, 90th. So they're both right there together.
Yes, that is correct. Yep. I'm sorry. Yeah, Chase is 84th. Luke looks a lot more consistent, though. His PFF grade 68 and 22, 10th and 23, 23rd and 24. It's just the big board in college or in consensus that's bringing him down.
Ooh, look at that. And it's better competition, wouldn't you say?
But also, he wasn't on 33rd team's top 100, where Chase Lunt was 77th.
That's a good point.
So we got to listen to our scouts when they're telling us in our ear. They're chirping it. We don't have time to watch all the tape. We don't. We got to listen to the scouts.
What do you need more, though? A proven right tackle or a proven right guard, Emilio?
I think we need another corner.
All right, let's look at the corners here. Quincy Riley. Seriously, that one of these guys might be higher. Quincy Riley's 327th. Yuck.
No.
We still haven't gotten a linebacker yet either, have we?
Yeah.
Monahan is still there. Josiah Monahan's still there. We should maybe take a corner like Tim said.
Where do we have Denzel Burke on our board?
193.
Ooh.
Not
I like Dorian Strong later too. I like Monahan. I think
He is
Tim's right.
149. Dorian Strong's 149.
Yeah, there's just none of these corners that are. What about Fortune? Where do we have Fortune at? Fortune 240.
Smith.
And this is what we were talking about, right? Like, if you don't go corner by the second round, you find yourself in no man's land.
What do you guys think about doing our next mock draft as a must take a corner first round? Because that seems more realistic.
We already did that, actually. It's
Never mind. I was just kidding. You guys don't even do it.
Yeah, we traded back twice and got Trey Amos, man. I really liked that draft.
We nailed that
Trey
draft.
Amos, Derek Harmon.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just end this draft and pretend like this is what we did tonight.
And we're all set for the day.
All right. So, Tim, honestly, man, all these corners are cheeks where we're picking. I'm trying to find a gym here, and there's just I don't see.
I say you go Fentrell real late, something like that.
We may have to go O-line. You're right.
Yeah, we may have to get the hell out of Green Bay. We're going to get run out of town for this one, boys. We did get a corner already too, though, so that makes it a little bit better. But if we're going best available, Emilio, it's Chase Lunt, right?
That is correct. Yep, 84th.
And now we're done with offensive line if we go this route. So,
yes.
All right, cool. For sure. Chase Lunt, tackle out of UConn. All right, pick 143.
I was just looking for a little competition, get Glover a little heated up for the season. That's all.
I got you.
Are you Glover's agent?
Yeah, seriously.
Kobe King. Maybe. Kobe King's 173 here.
I like Cody Simon over him, but that's just me.
Bro,
Where's
all
Jalen
these
Smith
linebackers
on our board?
Cody Simon's 148. Let's see, Lindenberg.
Stutzman's 101.
That's the one I was thinking of. Yeah, Stutzman would be our pick here, I'm pretty sure.
Jay Higgins is right there as well, and he is right in front of Stutzman.
Dude, Jay Higgins, that's my
98.
guy. That's my guy.
But we need two linebackers, believe it or not. So you could probably go Stutzman here and then come back and get Higgins. It'd be close because we traded.
Are we happy that we have a 143rd pick now? Wow, Jacob. Wow, that's crazy. No, that's wild. Never mind. We can do whatever.
You know what, dude?
We're gonna give him some.
I'm gonna make your butt tattoo really smudgy. Joke's on you.
Boom. All right, what are we thinking here? It's between the two backers, right? Between Stutzman and
you guys don't like Cody Simon? Where's he at on your board?
Cody Simon was significantly lower.
Cody Simon is 148.
Mm-hmm.
Dang. Okay.
And
Jalen
the reason he was lower, Jacob, is the PFF big board had him at 132. The consensus big board had him at 212 at the end of the college season.
Oh, okay.
So
besides that, his grades were great. 23 he was 100th, and 24 he was 13th. So
yep. All right. So who's it going to be here? Stutzman? Is that what we're thinking?
Can I just got to ask one more time. Where's Jalen Smith on our board?
Talking about corner?
Yep.
Jaylin.
Yep.
Yep, we got him at 191.
Okay, 191. Check.
All right, we're going linebacker, right?
Yeah, but Jay Higgins is higher than Stutzman on our board by 2 spots.
Are you saying we need to trade back, Emilio?
Don't.
Where is Higgins going?
Higgins
is 98th on our board. Stutzman is 101.
He's going 189 too. So let's see if we can get somewhere in the 170s. And we could trade back 3 picks here, boys. Look at this. Let's go there. Give up 143. They said no. Now we're back to all these garbage picks that Emilio wanted to get rid of.
give me a 3rd rounder next year, and I'll take it.
For real? They said whatever.
4th rounder next year? Oh,
nah. I don't want to hear you.
All right. So we're going to trade back 3 spots, right? Actually, let's look at this other one real
let's
quick.
just gift it to the Panthers. Let's trade back 3 spots and just give it to them. We don't want
Write
anything.
it off on our
We
taxes.
just want a good.
All right, yeah, 146. Let's do it. Let's just trade back a couple picks here, and try to. Let's see. So we can get back up to 164. Is that right?
Give them 199. Yeah.
They ain't gonna do it.
It ain't gonna work, buddy.
Yeah. So we just got to go 228 here and 229. So Emilio gets pissed. All right, there you go. We're gonna trade back a few spots because we're taking Higgins, right?
Yeah.
Hope so.
All right.
That was the plan.
That was the plan. All right, linebacker Higgins is our pick here. Bang.
Take it.
146. We'll get a lot of top 100 talent with this draft, though. No doubt.
Ooh, look at that.
All right, 199. Tim said, I don't care what happens here. You got to take a cornerback, right?
What do you guys think
Or
about Jason
a
Marshall?
slot safety. Hold on. Put safety up there, too.
Ooh, Tim thinking outside the box.
Hunter Waller. Hey there.
Jacob,
Nah.
I'm so tired of you speaking out of turn here, sir.
Hunter
Let's
Waller.
go.
He's a good
Clark. Elijah Clark. Where is he at? Let's look at these guys real quick. Elijah. Of course, there's 2 Elijahs. Elijah Clark, 391. Blech.
RJ Mickens, 333.
Where do you guys got Hunter at? Just so I know.
That's the one I just did, wasn't it? Or was it? No. Let's see here. Oh Lord, mine done closed out. That's wonderful.
Hunter is 280.
Okay.
Aubrey Brooks is 339.
What about Jason Marshall Jr.?
And Jason is 321.
Wow.
Did you look up
Scroll down a
RJ?
little bit, Clay?
Did you look up RJ, Emilio?
Yeah, he's 3.
Way down. All right. Trying to see if any of these names.
I feel like Fentrell Cypress II has been mocked towards the Packers quite a bit, but I don't quite know why.
He's like 320 on ours, I think.
Okay.
What about Jordan?
Tommy Hill.
Yeah, he's low too, significantly lower.
Jordan Hancock.
Ooh, Jabbar Muhammad. That seems like the late round draft pick, doesn't it?
Hey, we picked him once. So that probably makes sense. Let's see here.
Mm-hmm.
Jabbar, he's 219. A little bit of a reach here. See how we're trying to make corner work right here, and we just can't.
Yeah. Yeah, there's my boy
Paolo
Teddy. There's
Sanders,
Teddy.
Yeah. Right. Ricky Wright.
That's tough, man.
Yeah, seriously. Like this is screaming take another backer, you know?
I mean, I think that what we could assess from this whole, experiment is that if you force yourself to take wide receiver first, it kind of screws your whole draft.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's my opinion. I don't know what you guys think, but
No, it definitely does, man. If we focus on linebacker here as well, let's do Miss Johnson. He kind of popped at the Senior Bowl. I was not impressed as a Kentucky fan this year, though. I know that. There's Karen Reed.
Jalen Walker. Jalen, that's a guy that keeps.
Yeah, I think he's really high on our board, if I remember correctly. Yeah, he's 147. That's definitely our best pick so far. Kareen Reed is, way lower. Yeah, Jalen Walker looks like the pick here, gents. Really does.
Get her
what do you think, Emilio? Is there anybody else that catches your attention here? Teddy Buchanan.
What about Teddy? Yeah.
See where Teddy's at. He's 201. Yep.
Okay.
So.
And Teddy is our 15th best linebacker. So I don't mind.
one thing I'm learning with this draft too is we have no problem getting those two backers we need late in the draft.
Yeah,
You know?
definitely.
So let's go Jalen Walker, boys. If we're sticking to the board, right?
Yeah.
Like I mean, it's going to take our final pick, 228, to justify where we take a corner because we didn't take them early. You know, That's interesting. All right, Jalen Walker. So we're good at linebacker. Now it's just hell or high water. We're going corner or safety here. Right. Malachi Moore. Where was Moore at, man?
He's a slot.
Oh,
Sure.
150.
Yeah, he's
Malachi
a slot.
Moore, 150. That might be the dude, right?
Yeah, he is also our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th best safety.
Oh, nice. I think that's our guy. Dan Jackson's way lower. Yeah, looks like Malachi Moore. So, Tim, we were able to get a
Wait,
corner.
well, Moore's not. I mean, I shouldn't say he's a slot. He's played in the slot.
Let's see what we got here. No, yeah, he's a
He's
slot.
good.
He's,
That's pretty.
he's at the
pretty
threshold.
Yeah, I mean, you got 180. Look at the year before, 2023, 468. You know what that sounds like? Javon Bullard.
Yeah.
Remember, he played a lot of slot the year before, then shifted to safety, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
So I think that's our guy. Look at the grades: 66, 77, 84. Malachi Moore is a name we need to write down for a late pick. If
I
he
like
falls
that.
far.
I like that.
All right, there you go. Malachi Moore is the pick. And we're going to get roasted. Here we go.
Easy peasy.
Let's see here.
Everybody in the chat asking for a long snapper. There are no long snappers in the draft. Are there any on our board at all?
Oh yeah, Tim. I had to keep. I got had to give the people what they wanted. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 long snappers on our board.
Where are they at? What's the highest ranked one?
Let me go to the other board. William.
Hey, honestly, when you look at this draft, it's not that bad.
Speak for yourself, Jay. Nah, I know what you're saying. Like we got good value in certain spots. There's no doubt about it. We've got it saved here.
357, Tim, would be our long snapper.
357 is the best long snap. Okay,
that is correct.
Okay.
Wide receiver first mock draft.
I know. Thank you. I'm trying to get us away from 10 picks because how are we going to put all these guys on the field?
All right, so there is the wide receiver first mock.
The important question is asked of Tim by Professor Cakes. Tim, why can't we make a center or long snapper? They both throw the ball behind their butt cheeks.
Number one, we don't have a center, so we would need one of those first.
Man,
number two, believe it or not, it's not the same thing. There's a lot of centers that cannot be long snappers.
Unbelievable. All right, so here it is, guys. We traded out of the 23rd pick. We picked up 31, 95, and 131. I like that trade right there, by the way. Holy cow, you talking about good value.
Professor Cakes, make a long snapper a center then. I love it.
And then we traded 31 for 35 and 101. So with the 35th pick, even though our board did not suggest it, we went Jaden Higgins. And then with 55, we went Trey Harris, wide receiver out of Ole Miss. 87 in the third round, we went guard Tate Ratledge. In the third round with 95, we went edge defender Ashton Gallot. With round 4, pick 101, we went cornerback Zy Alexander. Round 4, pick 123, we went defensive lineman Ioannis Peebles, who's been linked to the Packers. Round 4, pick 131, we went tackle Chase Lunt out of Connecticut. Then we traded back again. We gave up we traded up, didn't we? We traded pick 160 and pick 251 for pick 143. And then we traded 143 for 146 and 228. We did gain a little ground there, though, right?
I know. That's what I'm talking about.
And then we ended up with the 146 pick. We took linebacker Jay Higgins. With round 6, 199, we went linebacker Jalen Walker. And then with the 7th round pick, 228, we went with the safety slot hybrid Malachi Moore out of Alabama. That was one of our best picks of the draft was Malachi Moore, the guy we stumbled.
Do you think did we get a D for Trey Harris because they think we reached basically? Is that?
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. Because remember, they had him in the 80s. But again, we didn't have any other trades on the table, and we're forcing ourselves to take wide receiver. And this was the whole point here. We passed up on Golden, right? Because we had Trey Harris so high on our board.
Correct.
So if we'd have taken Golden when he was there, Tim, we would have probably got an A for that pick. You know? So that's something to take into consideration when you're kind of looking at how the grades work. the whole point here is if you take a wide receiver with the 23rd pick, the only people that make sense according to our board, and I'm not saying it's everything, you guys know you've seen behind the scenes how we build the board. Luther Burden is the 30th best prospect. That's not too much of a reach there at 23. You had Egbuka, who was already gone. He's our 26th best prospect at Ohio State. And then, of course, ahead of him is Tetero McMillan, wide receiver out of Arizona. All right. And he's long gone, obviously. So Matthew Golden at 41 would have been a reach for us at 23. And, of course, Trey Harris we have with the same exact grade as Matthew Golden in the 42 spot. So, yeah.
This is a perfect draft for a team that's 3-14 with a QB that was out all year.
Right. Exactly. So
Man, I love it.
Again, the whole reason we do these, forcing ourselves to take a certain position, is which one makes the most sense? Which one do you look at the draft and go, the way the board fell, really like that? And I think the answer keeps coming back for me, and I don't want to speak for everyone, is the one that lines up to take a corner in the second round, right? This one was not that. Zy Alexander is our go-to guy late in the draft. There's no doubt about it. 4th round, Zy Alexander. When we went cornerback first, that's the only mock we've done so far, forcing ourselves to take a specific position first, where I felt good about the cornerback position. That's where we got Trey Amos, who has been mocked to the Packers at 23.
I do like trading around all those picks, though, Clay, because look at all the different people at the end there. Like, we stayed away from Teddy. We didn't see Marcus Ware. Like, we got a Malachi, we got a gem slot safety kind of hybrid in there from Alabama. Like, a good good school kind of guy. That's the kind of stuff I like to see. Let's just switch it up a little bit, get us in different areas.
Yep. And the next one we do, we're going to force ourselves to take defensive linemen, and that's going to be real easy to do that.
Yep.
One. Right. But again,
I need to do 2 there. I want to see if we can't dabble our way up to the front of the line there.
Right. And if people are hearing me say, man, once you get past the second round, you don't have a corner, but they're going, hey, Clayton, you haven't taken a corner in the second round other than when you made yourself go there first, right? It's because when we get to the second round and pick, even then, you've got a cluster of guys, but they're significantly lower on our board than where we're picking right then. So it really doesn't – you're reaching for the corner at that spot too. So it almost feels like when you get to the second round, trade back to justify taking a corner in the second round. That would make sense. But this is how our board looks. It's not to say that that's how Goody's look. I guarantee his looks way different than ours. But anything else you guys want to add to this conversation? We're way over. We'll go ahead and wrap this thing up.
No, I think it was a good draft, good learning experience. Like I said, getting different guys on the board is what I like to see. Getting a different shot kind of thing and just kind of going through the talent. But yeah, I think I am for trying to take our last couple picks, move up a little bit and sort of wiggle yourself in there between, 150, 200 and see if you can't find some gems there.
Yeah, Tim, you've combed through the corners a lot this year. Make it make sense, man. Because you were going, what about corner? What about corner? And according to our board, they're just, you get into no man's land, right? Like what do you think is the answer to fill in a cornerback? Because even if our boy Jair comes back, you still need 2 backup corners, in my opinion. When I say backup, I mean they may not be thrust right into a starting role, but you need that extra depth there. If Ja's gone, you got to look to try to get a starter in there, right?
Yeah, which may mean the uncomfortable free agent conversation.
Yep.
And look at some of these free agent names that are out there because, like you said, man, corner's going to have to be relatively early-ish the way this draft is starting to look, based on the mocks that we've done so far. And what do we know about that? Well, that's not a top-tier position of, importance, but it is a top-tier position of need for us. We talked about starter quality, possibly 1 or 2 for depth. But what do we know about those first couple of picks, man? We got to shore up the trenches, right? D-line, O-line. We have other priorities above a corner. So I think you're going to have to hope you get lucky middle to late rounds, which we know is going to be tough to do, other than the Zy Alexander conversation that we've had, kind of like our emergency backup plan. So it may be that kind of scenario. And then, yeah, we got to look at the free agent market, which at a glance isn't super deep either at the corner position. So, yeah, we're in a tough spot because we know Ja's not gonna restructure the contract. We know that. So, I mean, I'm starting to teeter more towards the 60-40 that he leaves rather than 50-50 where I was a few days ago.
Yeah, I think he will restructure, me personally, if you're talking about more guaranteed money. Yeah. Because essentially what you're talking about is taking, all right, what's been his big MO, the injuries, right? Well, if you can guarantee more of the contract for him, the problem I have is not whether Ja will do it, it's whether we're willing to do it because of his injuries, Like you guarantee that money, you kind of take yourself off the hook a little bit, or you put yourself on the hook, I should say. But if people were wondering, like, why did y'all take the slot corner? The whole purpose of us taking the slot corner is to compete with Bullard at slot, but also if for some reason Bullard gets hurt again, we don't have to take Keyshawn off the boundary to put in the slot. That's the big thing. So
exactly.
And I'm not saying Keyshawn is this all-world player. I'm a fan. I think he played good last year, but he is way better on the outside than he is in the slot. There's no doubt in my mind.
For sure.
Yeah.
There's value there that he can kick inside, but I don't know. Emilio, you got anything else, man?
Will you pull up the draft board real quick?
Yeah.
I just want to show them, like, the way we're kind of thinking on this corner thing. So just go and here, I'll sort it real fast. So we just want to sort our position column by corners, right? Everybody at the top here. If you're looking, we have Travis Hunter. He's got a final average of a 2.2, right? Then we're 2-3 categories away if we're going by 5s, 4 maybe. I mean, that the 17 for Siobhan, he's right around. That's right around pick 20. Then you get to 20. He's pushing, I don't know, 23, 24. And then we get into our 30s. We're at about pick 30, 31, 32. And then once you get into the 55, right, that's the number. We're already into the 60s.
Yep.
So that's where you have about 3 or 4 chances early. And besides that, then you just start pooling up. And that's where we find ourselves kind of chasing down everybody sort of, near the end, but also look at the board and look at where the cheese is. Where if you're looking at it as a cluster map, where is the cheese sitting right now? Sort of in that middle ground right there. Maybe we kind of go back and see where they're at on the big board once we sort it by for their final average, but kind of ear hole where they are on the number scale.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, man. That's a good point. And like what he's talking about with the cheese emoji, for those of you on the pod, Jacob Parrish Jacob Parrish out of Kansas State, Corey Thornton out of Louisville, and Kobe Bryant out of Kansas are all the Packers have met with them, right, at the Senior Bowl and the East-West Shrine Bowl, right? Now, here's the deal. Of all those, the one that sticks out to me, Jacob Parrish, 33rd team, had him 81st overall.
And we have him on the board at 144.
There you go. That might be the one you lean on there if you find yourself in no man's land, right?
Yep. And then the Corey Thornton, he's at 183. So on our board, 183, 184. So that's kind of where maybe we'll look at it. Hey, let's look at the board to see where they're maybe going on PFF. That would be good next time we pull them up, see where those kind of guys are going, their average draft position, and kind of see where that lands us.
And you see the best corner on the board that was linked to the Packers up to this point is Trey Amos. And when we went cornerback first mock, we got him with the 33rd pick according to PFF. And we were able to trade down to get him. We felt really good about that. So, that's what it kind of feels like. So
I like it.
Good deal, man. I could talk about this all night. It's cool to try to look at the tendencies. All right, where do the quote-unquote professionals have them? We're going to add in Dane Brugler's top 100 to this board here in the next couple of days. That's going to shuffle some things around and maybe the next mock that we do on down the road. I'm trying not to mock everything to death, but, man, I'm telling you, when we do mock drafts, the viewers go up the entire time, and people are screaming, do a mock draft, do a mock draft. So we're trying to give people what they want, but at the same time, we don't want to beat a dead horse.
But it also gives us a bunch of data. I mean, all these people were taken, it's sort of sees who we're landing. Jay Higgins showing up a lot, late round kind of stuff. So I like to see it.
Yeah. Another one too, if somehow, some way Siobhan Revelle falls to the Packers at 23, that's a slam dunk pick.
And like I was saying on PFN, I did it on Pro Football Network simulator. Sometimes they'll fall like that, where we're never seeing that on PFF. We might see it on another one. So that just shows that during draft day, you really have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah, right.
It's true.
All right. Appreciate your time, fellas. This was fun. Everybody in the chat, thank you all so much for hanging out with us. If you would, hit that like button on your way out. Special shout out to our buddy Seth Reuter. Thank you for the super chat. Thanks to everybody in the Patreon group for your contributions and being a part of the show. We'll get back to y'all on the potential call-in line for the Patreon members. We just got to be careful, too, because all it takes is one knucklehead to say something stupid and our channel gets banned. So we got to be really, really, really cautious of that stuff. It's got to be people that we know well enough, that we trust, all that. So we'll toss those ideas around. We're always looking for a way to try to make the show more interactive for those of you who are supporting, and also just to add a little extra value. So everybody have a great night. We'll see you in the morning for Good Morning Lambeau. See you at 8:30 a.m. Central.
And we go.
We're out. Bye, guys.